Karen Martin. I'm the VP of Programming here at the Children's Media Association, and I want to thank you for joining us today. The Children's Media Association is a nonprofit organization committed to informing, uniting, and supporting the various verticals within children's media, and all of our events are created and produced by volunteers who work in kids media and are committed to sharing and exploring topics that affect kids and families. If you'd like to shape the future of children's media, please consider taking on a volunteer role with CMA. And as always, we'll be taking questions at the end of this event, so feel free to add those to the comments. Dr. Gummer is a PhD in neuropsychology, a postgraduate certificate in higher education, and more than 20 years experience working with children and families. She is the mastermind behind the Good Play Guide, a trusted resource for parents and caregivers, gift givers rather, to truly find good toys and other kids' products. Dr. Gummer's Good Play Guide is a free resource designed to help families thrive through play alongside independent reviews of children's products and services, dedicated to ensuring that every child can develop the skills they need to thrive during a happy, healthy childhood. The team's mission is to help make the world a more playful place. Also joining us today is Joe Burke, the inventor of Ollieball, the ultimate indoor play ball. Ollieball has been awarded 7 toy awards, including a Toy of the Year award at the New York International Toy Fair. Burke is the former national brand director of Disney stores with over 2 million units sold worldwide. Ollieball has extended their award-winning toys into a line of accredited STEAM products with peered review lesson plans written and developed by Dr. Amanda Gummer's team. So you're here to tell us all about the Play Guide.
Yeah, so thank you very much for having me again. Those of you who have been following this series, the Dr. Gummer Presents series, know that this is an interactive series. So I'm going to be asking some questions in the chat and get you guys involved. But I'm really excited to be here. And it's great to have Joe along because we've been working really well with him in the last year or so. And it really brings to life some of the work we can do when we can hear from people who we've worked with us as well. But for those of you who don't know us, let's just go through what we're going to do today. We are going to look at what the Good Play Guide is and how it's working with brands, because the mission behind the Good Play Guide is to make the world more playful. And it's a free platform. It was really important to us that families should have access to information that is free and is authentic. We're also going to look at our mission and why we do what we do. We're going to look at the website and go through a couple of what you can expect to find on the website and explain to you a little bit about how the reviews are performed. We're also going to talk with Joe about his experience working with us and the wider experience or collaborative operation opportunities outside of just a straightforward review. And you've got an exclusive sneak preview coming up for our revamped digital hub. What is the Good Play Guide? Well, there's 2 brands and 1 mission. Mission is to make the world more playful. There is 1 legal entity, but we operate under 2 brands because of our history, really. So we started in 2012 as the Good Toy Guide Limited. That's the legal entity. But we quickly developed the Good App Guide and added different types of reviews into it to make it the Good Play Guide. Alongside that, for 10 years before I set up the business, I've been doing research and consultancy. So we brought that all in and under one umbrella. And in 2014, it was Fundamentally Children was born. And that's the research and consultancy side of the business. And I'll talk a bit about that, but we're really focusing on Good Play Guide here today. And the whole point of a Good Play Guide is it's to help families thrive in a playful way. Every child has the right to play. It's in the Human Rights Charter. But families sometimes struggle, and we want to make sure that we are giving that guidance to parents and carers and educators increasingly too, in a way that is trusted, it's robust, it's independent, it's evidence-based. On the other hand, we also want to make sure that people who are doing the right thing by children are able to get that commercial advantage and stand out. I really hate the idea that you have to choose between doing the right thing and making money. If it was up to me, the nurses and the doctors and the charity workers would be the richest people in the world. And I know the world doesn't work like that, but we are on a bit of a mission to try and make sure that people who are putting kids first, who are designing products with kids at the heart of their design, who are trying to help children develop holistically and healthily, are able to really communicate that to their target market and get the commercial benefits. We think our kids deserve better. And that's not just toys, it's across the board. So, you know, we are really passionate about making sure that play is embedded in kids' lives, and that people who are making things for children don't minimize the importance of play. So the Good Play Guide encompasses, we have 5 of our own sort of accreditation programs, and you'll also know us as the partners of the Toy Association for their STEAM accreditation program, because we developed the framework. So the fundamentally children side of the business, if you like, developed the framework and did the research into what makes a good STEAM toy. And then the framework went down so well with Toy Association members that they wanted an accreditation. They wanted to be able to use something on their packaging. And the thing that differentiates our accreditations with against a lot of the other sort of badges that you might want to put on packages is that it's an accreditation, it's not an award. So it's about the quality. And my background is academic psychology, and methodology was absolutely drilled into us. Terms like ecological validity and inter-observer reliability and all of this stuff. So ecological validity means observing behavior in its natural setting, so that if you take children out of their family homes or their schools or their playgrounds and you put them in a boardroom or a toy company's offices and you give them one toy and you ask them to play with it and ask them what they think, that's not ecologically valid. That isn't how kids play. They don't feel comfortable, they don't feel relaxed, they feel like there's a right or a wrong answer. That's called social desirability effect. So they give you the answer they think that you want to hear. If you give kids a toy and you ask them if they like it, they're going to tell you yes, because they think that they'll get more toys. So you've got to be very careful about the methodology behind the review process. And so we make sure that we test toys with multiple children and play partners or professionals or parents. We have our experts review those the observations and make sure that they've also reviewed the toy themselves. But the idea is that if we test with one child, that kid could be having a bad day, could be tired, could have had just around with the parent, or could be playing up for the teacher, whoever it is that's observing the play. We train our observers in natural observation, so that unobtrusive, just letting the kids play in the same way that you would at home. So parents if it's a parent testing it at home, they're instructed to make sure that they're not, overly involved, and that they treat it like they would any other toy. And quite often in our Good Play Zone, when we do research there, we'll just have a selection of toys out, and they'll just be there, and we'll just see where kids go and what they play with. So it's really important. That ecological validity is really important to us. And the training ensures that there's consistency between observers as well. So we review the products and we will collate the information. And again, one of the things I think is unique to our methodology is if it's unsuccessful, you'll get the report. That's essentially what you've paid for, is the report. But if you're unsuccessful and you make some of the changes that are recommended in the report, you get to resubmit it for free within 12 months. So this really goes to that point about raising standards in the industry. We're not there to make a quick buck because somebody's paid us some money to get a badge. It's about really trying to help people make things better. If you are successful, if the product does meet the criteria for accreditation, and those criteria for toys are fun, ease of use, and the skills developed. And each of those is scored out of a possible 5. So you have to get 9 out of 15 to pass. But if you get a 1 on either fun or skills of use, it's an automatic fail, because our approach to this is that it doesn't matter how educational or beneficial a toy is for families. If it's not fun and the kids don't enjoy playing with it and they don't know how to play with it, then it doesn't matter how educational it is. You're not going to get the benefits of the education because the kids aren't going to want to play with it. So we very much, it's a fun first kind of approach to this. And if it is successful, it opens up the doors to a load of other things, activities, services, and brand promotion, as well as being featured on our website and social media. So the whole thing is a sort of end-to-end process to help companies make sure that what they're doing is what they say they're doing, but also then to shout about it and to help you get the benefit of it. So, and as you can see from the stats, we go across the different industries. So a typical review might look something like this, where you have those ratings for fun, skills developed, and ease of use. You have the recommended age range, and that's not necessarily what the manufacturers say the age range is. This is who we've sort of assessed it to be relevant for because of the development. And within that, you can then click on some of these. There's some tabs below this as well. You can click to see our expert review. You can get quotes from the kids. And all of that is completely free to access by the consumers, but it's also free for you guys to use on your marketing and packaging and social media and any promotional stuff. We get people who print out their certificate and put it on their trade show stands, for example. So all of that is part and parcel of the review process. And essentially what you're paying for when you pay for a review is the detail within the report. So you can pay for a sort of a basic review, a standard review, or you can pay for an enhanced, much more sort of detailed report to give you more information if you're looking to sort of develop your products further. We're growing rapidly, especially in the United States, and that's largely been as a result of the partnership with the Toy Association for the STEAM accreditation. But we're making inroads into non-STEAM toys as well. So really exciting times for us, and I think it's only going to go one way, because parents and consumers are looking for that trusted resource that they can use to make sure that the products that they're buying for their children, and especially with the increase in homeschooling, the increase in special need diagnoses, finding products that are right for your kids takes more than just a 5-star review on an e-commerce site. So we're finding that people are taking more time to do more research into the products that they're buying, and it's an absolute delight to see the toy industry's reaction to what we're doing. And and that's why we've widened it out beyond toys and into the digital space and stuff as well. So one of our favorite clients is Joe from Olivall, and I'd love to bring him in and talk a bit about how we've worked together, Joe, and what we've done, how you've found working with us and what we've done together.
Absolutely. Doctor and Karen, thanks for having me. I'd love to share our story. So as you said, yes, you are one of our favorites too. So I'll give you the quick story. About a year and a half ago, we started seeing Olivall. So this is Olivall. We won a Toy of the Year in 2019. We've sold, we're close to 3 million units worldwide. But what we started seeing was orders coming in for 12 and 24 units at a time at full price. And 24 pieces is like a small wholesale order. So we're going, who are these people? And we were thinking it's parties or organizations. Well, we looked up a few of the addresses of the folks that were ordering 24 at a time, and we found out they were school teachers. These addresses were schools sometimes, and these folks were administrators, PE teachers, educators, science teachers. And so I think it was just through osmosis. Kids were playing with Olivalls in the house, hitting them around, coloring them in with markers, and teachers and educators were going, wait a minute, why don't we bring these to school? They're fun to play with. They're easy. No one's going to get hurt. You can color them in with markers and crayons. And so there's where the light bulb went off, and we said, hey, we need to do an educational line of Olivalls for our guests. And so we were at the we were at the Nuremberg Toy Fair just this year. All the way back in February. And this tells you how good this team is that we worked with. And this was already percolating. I'd already had some ideas. We had spoken to teachers. We contacted them independently, and we said, hey, we noticed that you ordered these. Can we talk to you? And they all said, yes, we need a math Olivall, and we need an art. Those math and art were the two that they immediately said that they wanted. And so I had the good fortune of meeting Emma and Nikita on Dr. Amanda Gummer's team in Nuremberg. And immediately, I'm a Disney guy, so we use the word synergy a lot. All the synergies went off, and I said, hey, we really want to do this education thing. She had told me more about the STEAM accreditation, about the Good Play Guide, about Dr. Amanda Gummer. And from there, it was a sprint. In less than, we worked with Antonia as well, Lowell on her team, who's in the States. And honestly, I called it the STEAM Dream Team, because this team came together and the goal was, I am going to the New York International Toy Fair later this year, and we need to have at least 3 STEAM accredited Ollie balls with lesson plans written, peer reviewed, and everyone was up to the assignment. So we went after it. And just to give you an idea, this is the way it works. Here is the arts booklet. And this has all been developed by Dr. Amanda Gummer's team. And there are lessons in here where you learn about the master artists. You learn about technology in art, which is NFTs. In fact, we actually have an NFT as part of this Ollie ball. And then as each student gets one of the lesson plans, and you see we've got our logos on there, very important to us. Each student will get an Ollie ball. And this one, as you can see, is Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night. And if you look closely, there are numbers. And so the kids get to do a color by number and learn about the master artists. This is Piet Mondrian. And then here, this one is the NFT right here. And then we have a space here for each student to do their own creation. So in this panel, they would create their own artwork. And this is the Ollie Ball STEAM. We included a QR code, which links also to the website that has the lesson plan. And then I'll just quickly show you, we've got 3 of them. We have physics, mathematics, and this one is our STEAM edition, mathematics. And so they're learning shapes. And as you can see, you can color these in with markers and crayons, water-based, permanent. And here's the math book is thick. This is a thick one. This one's got a lot of info. And what I love what they did, and again, there's a lot of toys out there and a lot of educational tools out there that we see that are STEAM or STEM accredited. And we're kind of like, I guess it is STEAM accredited, but I mean, like it's a ball in a bowl. I mean, is that like when we got into this, our feeling was we've got to work with the best of the best. We need to go to the experts in the field. It needs to be a peer-reviewed plan. It needs to be meaty. It's got to be a real lesson plan. And what I love what they did is they did a target plan for 7 to 10-year-olds, and then they did a modification on the plans for 4 to 6 and 10 to 12. So, Dr. Amanda, you had mentioned at the opening, about empowering these people. Doctors and teachers should be the highest paid people in the world. This STEAM edition that this STEAM Dream Team created is one of those tools that empowers teachers. Because I agree with you. My wife's a former college professor. And so we do see the value in education for our children. And we're honestly super excited to be a part of this. And the last thing that I'll say, if anybody else is interested in a STEAM, I would say, adrenaline added to your toy. I mean, we took our base toy and worked with the team and found ways to expand the universe and dimensionalize what this product was. So it's not just you're going to say, hey, I've got a great toy. I really want to get a STEAM accreditation and get lesson plans written by Dr. Amanda Gummer's team. They're product thinkers. So we were actually able to work with them and expand the universe on what this product was. We've got 3 now. We're expanding to 5. I can't say who it is, but a major U.S. retailer. We've already mocked this thing up on an end cap to have all of them on there. Fingers crossed. We should have some news, but we're looking at a back to school launch in 2024 for that.
That's great news. That for the Ollie ball, that is a game changer, isn't it, Joe? So thank you for that, and thank you for your kind words. We've loved working with you, and I think one of the things that I wanted to explain a bit more is the accreditation is really just the way in, because we wouldn't have been able to do the lesson plans had we not done the accreditation, and helping get the Ollie ball in a shape with the booklets so that it met the criteria for the STEAM accreditation was the first stage. The STEAM accreditation, by the way, is open source. It's all on the Toy Association's website. So there is it's there for people to access. So that we're incredibly transparent about that. And I think for us, it's the ability to take something and really help blow it up, if you like, into something that fulfill its potential, and whether that's going into education, whether it's an education brand that is trying to get into mainstream retail, whether it's, and I know that the Children's Media Association has a lot of non-toy brands associated with it, but even if it's TV content or digital products, getting those, really understanding how kids play with them, understanding the developmental benefits and seeing the potential can really make a massive difference. So we would urge you, whether it's us or not, but we would urge you to absolutely do your research when it comes to knowing your audience and figuring out how your audience play with your products or interact with your brand. So it's been an absolute joy. And I think the next slide shows your review. The other thing I should mention, and I've edited the slide slightly because it looked like we were going to play a video, but you can, within the reviews on the Good Play Guide, you can have a little video clip as well, so that for those products that are difficult to sell on shelf or difficult to sell online because you need some explanation, getting that video on the review site is really powerful too. So yeah, so the other thing I wanted to do today, and this is exciting for us, but it's still very early days, so do bear with us as things evolve. But we have increasingly, and partly through some of the conversations I've had at places like Kids Screen and with Susie here at the CMA, and just generally, we are expanding out what we do, and we are looking to revamp what was the Good App Guide, or the Good Play Guide it was just apps. We're looking to revamp that massively. So if we move on to the next slide, you can see a sort of an idea of what we're looking at. We want to make it a trusted resource, just like all the other parts of the Good Play Guide are. But it's not just for apps and games. We want the TV content, screen-based content, audio. Increasingly, we're seeing kids' podcasts and audio devices coming to the fore. Really good for education. Also stuff for parents as well. So it's all about giving parents and consumers informed, impartial, evidence-based advice alongside. So we've got the reviews on one hand, and we've got the articles and the blogs on the other, in very much the same model as the rest of the Good Play Guide site. So you've got the articles and the information about particular topics, and whether that's inclusion and kids with special needs, or screen-based play and how to do that well. We are very much of the opinion that kids need to develop holistically. One of the things I love about Ollie-Ball is you've got all the learning, but you've got a ball. So kids are going to be active. They're going to be throwing it around, kicking it around, running after it, chasing it. And it's that holistic whole person development that is so powerful. And so making sure that we've got the screen time and the kids' digital lives right, and helping parents make sensible decisions for their kids around what that looks like is really important to us. We've just done a campaign for the BBC here in the UK called It's What's on the Screen That Counts. And we ended up putting tips onto their website for parents to manage screen time positively. But it's also about choosing the right content as well. So if kids are going to be on their screens, making sure that content is educational, imaginative, ideally social and active too. So all of that stuff is great. So we're going to have some additional categories within this new digital hub. So we're going to have, and again, this is the early plan. So I think some of these might merge. We're going to do some user testing on it all, but looking at apps and games, YouTube videos or kids content, whether it's mainstream or YouTube or any of the other curated platforms. We're also going to be looking at educational technology, which fits really nicely in with the STEAM accreditation program. We're also going to be looking at hardware, because the devices matter, and there's increasing research around how much young kids spend on a phone versus a tablet, and actually a tablet and a bigger screen is so much better for them both on their sort of fine motor control, they can move it, they can manipulate it, and they can engage with it better, but it's also with their developing eyesight as well. And we have, I think, on our website, one of the biggest demands is parents asking questions and needing help with the digital world. So giving advice to parents on how to manage screen time, how to set parental controls, how to know whether their kids are spending too much time on the screen, all of those kind of things. So we're doing a lot with that. We've also got things like the ebooks, the audio, you know, the AR and VR, all of that kind of stuff is all kind of come into this new digital hub. So watch this space, and we're really excited about how we're going to work with brands and companies in the industry to really raise those standards and put play into the heart of kids' products. So making sure that they're getting as good a deal out of us as we can. So that's coming soon. Just to wrap up, again, as per the usual structure, I want you to have a think about what this means for me, your sort of takeaways. What does this mean? What should we be doing? What are you going to take home and maybe talk to your colleagues about when you're back in the office tomorrow or later on? I'm hoping that you've heard something that's resonated and that's made you stop and think about maybe something you could do differently. And this, you know, it's brilliant to be able to talk about the importance of taking an evidence-based approach to accreditation. It's really great to be able to explain a bit about the Good Play Guide. This wasn't meant to be a sales pitch. This is a think about what you're doing and think about how you're doing it, and putting kids back in the center of what it is that you're doing. So anything that you have that's resonated with you today that you want to make a note of, and the psychologist in me knows that if you write it down, you're more likely to do it. And you're even more likely to do it if you put a date on it. So give yourself a deadline. And then the icing on the cake is the first step. So what is it that you need to do first? So I need whatever it is to get some help from whoever it is or to do something. And what is the first step? And that's the eating the elephant one bite at a time approach. But if you do that, you write it down, you put a date on it, and you identify what the first step is, then hopefully you will leave today's session with something actionable, meaningful, impactful. And in the meantime, we're open to questions.
So I did have some questions about how you approach this. I noticed that it's not necessarily the most popular toys, like, you know, the It toy. It's also about the toys that really have an impact on kids. My question is, I noticed you have the US platform and the UK platform. The toys are different on both. So what is the thought process there? Is it really that different from one country to the next? I mean, that to me is like mind blowing, if that's the fact.
Yeah, no, the website itself is one website, but it's just the links to buy. If it's available in the US, there will be a link to buy it in the US. If it's available to buy in the UK, there'll be a link to buy in the UK. They're just links out to retailers that we get given. So the advice and the information currently is all exactly the same. So apologies for the UK spellings and the slightly odd terminology at times. And yeah, we're getting better at saying holidays rather than Christmas, because I think that works better for the American audience. But generally speaking, it currently is a UK site. When we revamp it in the next year or so, we will look at localizing it slightly more. But if the product is available, it will show up. If it's available to buy in any territory, it will show up in that territory when you're there. So yeah, we're trying to make it as international as possible.
Okay. And you had mentioned that you're going to be doing more reviews on products that are educational or digitally based apps and such. Do you have that now on the website?
Yeah, so we have a few apps that we've reviewed over the years, and we've got those, and we do that in the same way that we do the toys. And I think that was probably one of our learnings in this whole sort of entrepreneurial journey, is that digital content and digital products are very different in the manufacturing than toys, because obviously you don't have the upfront tooling costs, you don't have to, all the safety tests. So the business model didn't work in the same way, and the review process didn't work in the same way. So we're revamping the whole of that so that we can still have that robust, reliable methodology, but we're not reviewing it in quite the same way, because it with a digital, like with an app, you just put it out there, you put the MVP out there, and then you iterate until you get it right, and you keep iterating as new technology comes in or as you get new feedback. So it's very much a sort of a live experiment. You can't do that with a toy because you've just spent, thousands of dollars on it, on tooling it up and getting it manufactured in China. So you don't want to keep tweaking it, whereas that's not the case with digital. So it's a different beast, but we're enjoying the challenge.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, but you also mentioned the hardware and what it's actually displayed on. And I think that's really important that that's out there, because I don't think people realize that there's obviously studies out there about VR and AR and how that affects young minds developing, how eyes develop. And you had mentioned that about the tablet versus the phone. I think that's really key. I mean, I have kids and I have glasses, and I'm like, it's got to be because they've been on phones all this time, and I really believe that's part of it. So I think that, like, putting those types of that part into the review is really excellent. I'm also interested in, Joe, I don't know if you have any questions either, but I'm interested in the fact that you're actually now going into the audio vertical, where you're talking about podcasts as well, like podcasts and any kind of audio thing. What is that review going to look like?
Yeah, so we've done a lot of work with Tonybox, which has been great, and looking at the impact that Tonybox has on kids' development and their bedtime routines and all of that kind of stuff. We've done a really nice study there. And then I think we've just become more aware that there are podcasts for children. So there are family podcasts, and I think it seems to be becoming increasingly popular to have podcasts in the cars, and podcasts that everybody wants to listen to as well, which is much better for the family bonding than having everybody on their own device. So putting something, kids podcasts or family friendly podcasts for the car journeys. We are spending more time in our cars. We're going on longer journeys where kids are, strapped into car seats for a significant portion of their day. So making sure that there are some good options for them to listen to, and being able to recommend and review and then recommend great podcasts will be in a similar way to reviewing and recommending the apps or the TV shows or whatever. So it's all part of that new digital hub. That's
great. That's really great expansion. Joe, do you have any other questions for Amanda, or let me?
No, that was the one that I was going to ask about the audio. I thought that was super cool.
Yeah.
I'm just excited to see, we've got something really big coming on Earth Day that we're starting to work on with you guys. I'm excited to see where we go with this, and the peer review piece of it for me was cool to experience, because you can write a plan, but until you really get into the hands of educators and get their feedback on it, you don't know what the practical application was going to be. So and that is a plug. It just is. I mean, for anyone that wants to work with it, and again, it's kind of like a lot of things. I mean, there are experts at everything, and there's experts in toy education, and Dr. Amanda Gummer's team is it.
Yeah. No, thanks, Joe. I really appreciate it. That's very sweet of you to say. But yeah, we love what we do. We are genuinely determined to make the world more playful. So we're excited about what the future holds. And I think with all of the crises that are going on in the world, well-being and play is the antidote, if you like, to some of the stress and trauma. So I think our time is coming, and I think play is the answer to a lot of problems. So sure. I'm very happy to be working in this space. I feel incredibly lucky, and thanks to the CMA for giving us a platform to talk more about it. I'm always happy to hear from anybody who's got any questions afterwards, and obviously there's the LinkedIn chat or whatever, so please do ask any questions or put any follow-ups in there.
You'll definitely see that there. Joe, I really want to thank you for coming on and representing Oliball as part of the collaboration with Amanda's team. And Amanda, I want to drive some traffic to your website. I know you have some giveaways going on, right? So that may be a great thing.
Yeah, we have our big Christmas giveaways. There's a US one and a UK one.
Right.
So there's nice bundles of products being given away there. So yeah, do go and check it out, goodplayguide.com.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Joe and Amanda, for being here today and telling us about the whole process. And thank you to everybody who's joined us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Awesome.
Thanks, Karen. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.